Alright, welcome back everyone to a new video for the channel. This one's going to be a bit different. Like I've stated before, I do just pretty much anything that I find interesting or fun. So this video is going to be a comic book mystery box unboxing. I got this mystery box. It is 100 comic books for $50 from Collector's Paradise in California. Their information should be on screen if I edited it right. With tax and everything, your shipping, I don't believe there was any tax, but with shipping it came out to be like $67 to ship it across to the other side of the country. I tried to do an unboxing, but you'll see in a moment the video is kind of crappy because I'm using an old Logitech camera, etc. And I have very little space, and that footage didn't turn out the best. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to show all the comic books I got. Me as a collector, I'm not worried about, the value of things, like what money I can get out of them. So, of course, everyone knows that comic book mystery boxes are usually just backstop, mostly. Collector's Paradise, however, guarantees 2 signed copies with certificates of authenticity and 1 alternate special cover, which means chromium, lenticular, probably sketch cover. It does not include like variants, so we'll get a bunch of variant covers. You'll see those, but they are not the special covers. What I'm going to do for people who want to watch and see, the big money hits, I have looked them up just to make it more interesting. We're going to start out with the comic books that are worth more than $10 that I got out of the box, so you can judge for yourself if the box is worth it. To me, it is. I mean, I got 100 comic books for 50 cents each, and I will be ordering another one. And there was some issue with the shipping. It was packaged great, everything was fine, but when I ordered it on the 10th of May. And I waited until the 20th, and I hadn't had any updates. And then I emailed them. They got right back to me. Their customer support is grade A. And they said that they only package them and ship them every 2 weeks. So by my estimation, if you want to get one the same week that you order it, you might want to order on the 1st and 3rd weeks of every month. So that being said, we'll get right into the books. Transition now. The first book may be underwhelming to you. It is an Unknown Worlds, number 45. And I looked all of these prices up on eBay. This one had a few sales. They were super low because they were pretty much poor or fine quality. Like the spine was all chewed up. Everything was just ugly. However, I did find one with pretty much the same exact crease in the cover. Mine's got a little bit of writing here in ink pen. I'm not sure what that is, but that would count off. And as you can see by this crappy camera, it does pick up yellowing way better than an HD one would. I can barely see that with the naked eye, but it shows up really well here. Pages inside are, what you would expect. Well, they don't look so yellow on the camera, but they are kind of yellow. But I did see one online with this same issue here exactly, pretty much the same size and everything, and its listing was for let's see here, I have it written down, $14. So we could expect, with a little blue light treatment, a press and a clean, this one would probably be a good mid-grade, and if you had it graded, so I would expect it to pull about 14. If it was pressed and all this was cleaned up, probably more. So our running total is 14 there. I probably won't keep up with that, but whatever. So our next issue And this one was kind of all over the place. This is Venom 22, the X variant. And from what I could tell, there were a lot of current listings for $5, anywhere from $5 to $20. So I'm going to say that a good mint copy, maybe if Venom joins the Marvel Universe, this would eventually probably be a good issue to have. It's a nice cover. That's a super, super nice cover. So I'm going to say 10 because most of the listings were for between like 7 and, like I said, $7 and $20. So I'm going to say 10 on this one. All right, now we got a pretty, I don't want to say special, but it's a special one. Shuri number 10. This is the last issue of her run. So it is worth more than most of the rest of them. And I expect it to only go up in value because she is going to be donning the Black Panther armor in the Marvel Universe and being the Black Panther. Right now, you can get these between $10 and $20. I expect that to fully blow up. And being the last issue, it probably won't be as expensive as the first issue does when it blows up, but it will be quite a big issue. And apparently this one had a very low print run because the run wasn't very popular. Alright, and here's a weird one I've never heard of from Image. Local Man number 1 is, of course, an homage cover to Darker Image. Let's see, what is he worth? Local Man. I saw him going anywhere between $8 and $16. So nothing much else to say here. An homage variant cover, $8 to $16. Alright, so this one was kind of hard. This is a Collector's Paradise, the place where I got the box. It is an exclusive cover for their store. Bloodshot Reborn number 1. I saw this one on there going between $8 and $40. However, the $8 was from Collector's Paradise. They have their own listings on eBay. So you can still get it for $8. Any aftermarket sales were like $40. So however you want to judge that. I'm going to say, once Collector's Paradise delists them, it'll probably be anywhere between $10 and $30. Alright, let's see here. Alright, this is one of our signed issues. The Worst Dudes, number 1 from Dark Horse. This one was kind of hard as well because I saw a bunch of the regular issues with this cover, this variant cover. Unsigned, as you can see, it's signed by Aubrey there. Unsigned, they were going for super cheap. However, there was no sales data or anything for a signed copy. I think there was one that was freshly listed, and it was $20. And it hasn't sold yet. So we'll see. This one, as of right now, $20, I guess. Okay, so now the second signed issue, I'm going to wait until the end of the video because I think it gets a mega hit. Like I'm talking maybe 2-3 times the whole value of the box. And we'll get to that at the end of this video. So now I'm just going to go through the rest of the comics I got out of the box. These are anything below $10. Most of them ranged from cover price to like $8. So we'll start out. It looks like I'm starting out with Batman and anything Batman family related. We got the cardstock variants, Detective Comics 1064. It's a very interesting cover. Next, we have Batman the Detective, 6 of 6. Very interesting cover. I like the more urban-looking, less armored Batman. This This also will remind you of the Justice League flashbacks from the movie. And then the Batgirl in the white uniform is kind of cool. So I can't wait to read this one. I haven't had collected comics since I was a kid, up through my 20s. I'm much older now. I'm not going to give my age away. But through time, I had them stolen, taken from me, and had to sell them to survive. So I'm just now getting back into it. So this is why I'm unfamiliar with most of this stuff. Batman: The Killing Time, 4 of 6. Very reminiscent of the Batman movie, where the Batmobile shoots through the fire going after the Penguin. So that should be an interesting read. And we have, and I thought this one would be worth more, but it's not. This one's only like $2 or $3. Batman Fortnite 0 Point. I think you can actually sell the code out of these for way more than you can actually get for the book. And it is still sealed, so code intact. And then we have Flashpoint Beyond, 2 of 6. We got Thomas Wayne there, a more brutal Batman, so this should be a pretty interesting story. I like to think of him as like the Negan version of Batman. Alright, and then we have Batman Fear State Alpha 1. I'm not sure who this is. This is, I'm guessing, a new character or someone retconned to look like this. But there we go. And then we have, and I really can't wait to read this one, Night Terrors Angel Breaker, number 1. I'm a big horror fan, so any kind of horror comic books, and this one looks to be that. And this is a pretty interesting cover. Looking prices up, I saw some that were nicer because they showed this character on the front. She didn't look as monstrous. She was more appealing, if you know what I mean. Alright, and we have a couple number 1s here. Batman Secret Files, Miracle Molly number 1, the cardstock variant. I've never heard of her. Must be a new character at some point, so that'll be an interesting read. And then we have Batman Secret Files number 1, Huntress, regular edition. I'm sure that's some kind of variant, but it's not cardstock. Always a big fan of Huntress, so that should be interesting to read. Never heard of this character. Batman Secret Files number 1, The Signal. Should be nice to read. Looks like they're trying to do a Miles Morales with Batman. And then we have a Batman Gotham Knights number 4. The cover is kind of weird. The interior art is good. This cover is kind of goofy, but okay. I guess he's mocking Batman, and this is the scene where Batman walks up and goes, "I am vengeance," and then beats his ass. But there we go. And now we got the Batman Chronicles number 19. Two all-new tales from Batman's past, plus the Huntress. So I'm assuming these stories take place further back in the timeline, but they're new stories. Going into the Bat's family sphere of books, we have Azrael, number 18. The only thing I know about this character is he took over, he belongs to some kind of religious order. He took over as Batman when Batman had his back broken by Bane in Nightfall. That didn't work out well because he was too rough. He didn't take prisoners and kill people. So this should be an interesting read. Also from the Batman Arkham games, when he's trying to prove that he can take over for Batman. Here we have Birds of Prey, 86. Not a big fan of any of these characters. I like Barbara Gordon when she's Batgirl, so hopefully she's Batgirl in this and not Oracle. Never read a Bird of Prey book, so that'll be an interesting read for me. Nightwing 111. Never a big Nightwing fan at all. For some reason, he just rubs me the wrong way. I just don't like him. He's just not an interesting character. But I will read the book to see if I like the character after I know a little bit more about him than what I just generally know and have seen in video games. And then more extended Batman, well, I guess we should say Rogues Gallery now. We have Suicide Squad number 12. I just put that in here because it's always going to feature Harley Quinn. That's their big money maker. So Suicide Squad number 12 should be a fun read if the comedic tones carry over from the movies into the comics, that is. Speaking of Harley Quinn, we have Harley Quinn number 17. I do not like the art of this issue. Excuse me. I call this like Tumblr level of art. Like you would see people doing fan fiction on Tumblr with this level of art. I mean, look at it. Looks like maybe Has Been Hotel. Look like why is her face a triangle? I don't get it. I'll read it, but I can tell you right now, I hate the artwork. We have DC versus Vampires Killers, a one-shot number 1. The artwork is much better, featuring Harley Quinn, Catwoman. Should be awesome. They're drawn beautifully. They look like sexy women, like they're supposed to be. All right. So now that is all of the Bat Family version of books, or books that I received versions of books. We're going to move into Spider-Man. We got the Amazing Spider-Man number 11. This is the Hobgoblin variant. Interior art is okay. It's not as bad as that Harley Quinn one, but it's very modern, very clean. Been an interesting read. I never got too much into Spider-Man when I was collecting before, but I did have a few key issues. Like the one where him and Venom are punching each other on the cover, and it's foil of some kind behind them. I had the first appearance of his metal armor suit, things like that. I did pick up special issues for him. Here we have the Superior Spider-Man. The only thing I know about this Spider-Man is that it's actually Doc Ock having his brain or his personality implanted into Peter Parker's body, while Peter Parker is slowly dying in Doc Ock's comatose body. And he is much more brutal in the beginning and slowly figures out how to become a good Spider-Man. We have Spider-Woman here. I do know about Jessica Drew. I did own her initial first run, number 1, which was actually her second appearance. But I did have that, and I was sad to lose that. But here she is with Captain Marvel. Not a big fan of Captain Marvel. We'll see if she wins me back in the books. The only reason I ever liked Captain Marvel is because that is where my favorite character, Rogue, got all of her powers when she kicked her ass. All right. Still in the Spider-Man family. Venom. I didn't get too many core Spider-Man books. So we have Venom here. 28. The only Venom I ever had and read with him as solo was Lethal Protector 1 and 2. I was sad to lose those. I had like the special Chrome version of issue 1, things like that. So this should be an interesting read. I've always liked Venom. We have the Amazing Spider-Girl number 70 here, with the Hobgoblin on the front. I guess the Hobgoblin's made a big comeback. Or is that the Green Goblin? I was always a bigger fan of the Hobgoblin because he was scarier, in my opinion, than the Green Goblin. Okay, so this is the Green Goblin. That just didn't make him very green on the cover. And now we have a very thin issue, and when I picked it up, I was like, this has to be a free comic book day, some kind of drug PSA comic, something like that. Nope. Nope, it is Silk #3, and it just feels much cheaper. And it's, it's a regular version. It's not cardstock or anything, but it feels even much cheaper in the hand than a normal issue. It must have way fewer pages or something. But Silk #3, the only thing I know about her is she came about, and when she first did, she was naked and dressed herself in spider webs. So that should be a nice little thing if I can read it and figure out the character in one issue. We have Black Cat #7, the LGBTQ month alternate cover. Not worth very much. Maybe it will be at some point. The artwork in it is decent. I don't like when they do the little spindly eye mask. It just doesn't have, it needs to be drawn thicker. The little domino mask, but that's that. I'm not sure if I like the art on the cover. I'm not sure if the same artist did the interior art. It does not look like it. But her face just reads kind of weird to me. Alright, so moving along, we are moving into X-Men. First up, X-Men Red #1. I am thinking this is Jean Grey. However, it looks an awful lot in the face like Scarlet Witch from the movies. But I'm going to say Jean Grey because of fire. So that should be an interesting read. We've got some X-Men #1s. I had the whole run of Jim Lee X-Men #1s, as everyone did back in the day. All those covers that went together, and then the one special gatefold cardstock cover. Everyone had 50 copies of each one of them. Yeah, so did I. Up next is the guaranteed special cover. It is lenticular. It is X-Men Gold #1 with the homage to the old X-Men story where Jean Grey dies, and then in the next issue becomes Phoenix. So it's lenticular. I'm not sure if the camera will pick it up or not. So you got X-Men Gold under there. Not worth anything, really. Like $3 or something like that. That surprised me. So cover price, basically. Still in the X family, we have Wolverine #2. Very nice cover. I love this cover. Wolverine looking badass as usual. I did have the Weapon X Wolverine comic that had the cuts in the front where it looked like his Weapon X file like everyone had back in the day. I missed that comic as well. Then we got X of Swords or 10 of Swords. I'm not up on the world-spanning things. Wolverine #7. Looks like he's going pretty samurai there with maybe an electric sword. That's crazy. But it should be interesting. And we have Old Man Logan #43. I liked the Logan movie, and I'm assuming most of these are kind of based around that same time frame. So it should be a pretty interesting read. And now we're kind of moving further out away from the X-Men into the other X teams. We have Excalibur #10. I had a few issues of this back in the day, mostly like the anniversaries with the holographic card here. I had all of those where Wolverine had his adamantium pulled out. And then I had a couple loose issues that featured Nightcrawler back in the day. So this is Excalibur 10. Not sure what's going on. It's a very nice looking cover. It looks like London is in trouble. We have X-Isles #5. Nick Fury. There is an alternate of this cover where all the characters are in this chibi cartoon style. And they are inside the book. That Wolverine is a cartoon inside the book, so I don't know what's going on with that. Hopefully it explains it. And then we have, and I'm assuming, because of the characters included in the team, that these are also X-Men or X teams. We have Marauders #1 with Iceman up front. You have the Drake that used to kind of go around with magic. So I am assuming this is the next team. Never read any Marauders. It's from King in Black, the Venom storyline. I've only know that in passing. So it should be an interesting read. And then we have Marauders 17 with Storm, and I'm not sure who that is. She doesn't look very nice, though. It looks like she's trying to collect an eyeball to fix her face. Should be a nice read. That cover is very nice. I like the rain. It gives it nice movement. And now coming back around to more closer to X teams, we have Cable, Ages of Apocalypse, number 77. I'm not sure if this takes place in Apocalypse, and this always gets me. There's like a Spider-Man insert in this era of comics. That makes me think Spider-Man's in the comic, but he is not. It's just like a little insert. So, art very simplistic, looks pretty cool. Looks like he's traveling through time. Yeah, should be an interesting story. Alright, then we have Cable, number 152. The Newer Mutants. The cover is lacking. I don't really like that art. That was a big thing that made me not collect comics for a long time after the comic bubble bust in the 2000s, because what they would used to do is get a very nice cover, like the most badass cover you could think of, and you'd open it up and it'd have art like this in it as the panel-to-panel art. And I just got tired of it. I was like, no, there's like no books I want to collect because the artwork is so bad. And that's my main draw to comics, is the interior art. I don't collect them for what they'll be worth, nothing like that. I like the artwork. I myself, always growing up, as most kids do, wanted to be a comic book artist. I emulated all these great artists like Jim Lee, Todd McFarlane, things like that. And I just love the art more than what the comic might be worth. So if you have good interior art, an awesome cover to go along with it, I don't care if your book is worth 50 cents and everyone hates it, I'll love it. Alright, and our last X book is Magneto Dark Seduction, number 2. I'm surprised to see an issue like this where this is Scarlet Witch and not Rogue. Because normally, when Magneto is next to a scantily clad X-Man, it's usually Rogue. But this should be an interesting read. I'm not familiar with the story Dark Seduction. I don't think it was a world-spanning event. The artwork on the interior looks decent. This panel right here in particular could almost have been traced from a late 90s, early 2000s comic. So that's right up my alley. Alright, so we're going to move on to the next pile. Give me just one moment here. Back. So we're going to start in with some Avengers now. Here's some old school Avengers, 256. Not a very big fan of what you would call, well, I'm not a big fan of anything before the 90s as far as artwork and storylines and stuff are concerned. The artwork is classic, of course, it's good artwork. Some of the greatest guys in the industry worked on these comics, but this just, I mean, it's just not interesting to me to be that realistic. Alright, let's make some room to stack them up somewhere else. Alright. And then we have Earth's Mightiest Heroes Avengers, King in Black. Got some blades, some, looks like Dracula, and I don't know who, maybe, I don't know. A bunch of vampires on here. Like I said, I'm a big horror fanatic, so this should be a very interesting read for me. And then we have Marvel Action Avengers, number 11. Digging this art style. The interior art is kind of weird, but I like it. I like it. It's nice and clean. We're taking a look here. Everyone looks like they should. Yeah, it's nice and clean. It's got a very animated series kind of look. I like it. Alright, then we move into the only Iron Man comic I got, Tony Stark Iron Man number 14 with Captain Marvel. There must have been a time when they were pushing Captain Marvel really hard because I know her movie was getting railed, so they must have tried to include her in every single book they could to make her popular. Which is probably why a bunch of these aren't worth anything. The artwork is good. I will enjoy reading it because it's an Iron Man book. However, Captain Marvel's book, number 5. Cover is kind of meh. Doesn't really show you anything. She's just getting struck by something. Interior artwork is nice. If this is Rogue, and this is a Rogue Captain Marvel story, this will be interesting. As I said, Rogue is my favorite character, and we all know the history there where she kicked her ass when she was in the League of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, drained her powers so much she put her in a coma, and then Rogue gained all of her powers, like the flight, the invulnerability, the super strength. Though Rogue never, I don't think, ever exhibited the ability to do energy blast, though I could be wrong if she did at some point in the 2000s. Captain Marvel number 34, featuring the old male Captain Marvel. This is a variant. I forget the artist's name, but they're real big on Tumblr. And they're slowly moving into doing actual comic covers. They did a lot of fan art on like Patreon and stuff for characters. Interior art is looking nice. It's always a good surprise to see comics from this era. You open them up, she looks like a female. She doesn't look angry. She doesn't look square-jawed. Is that the Phoenix? No. And she doesn't look, you can tell she's a female. Alright, so that should be a decent read. Another one I've never heard of, Damage Control, featuring Thor. And we're moving into, I should have mentioned, after the first Avengers books, were in the Avengers adjacent books based on the movies. So we got Damage Control featuring Thor. Never heard of Damage Control, but evidently it's a long-running series, or it's had multiple different runs. Should be interesting. Agent Venom, really? Nice. Alright. And then we got an actual Thor, number 31. Looks like I thought at first that this was going to be like a Marvel Zombies, but no. From the inside, it looks as though he's traveling to hell or the underworld. So not a zombie story, but still maybe borderline horror, so I should like it. And then we have King in Black, Return of the Valkyries, number 3. I'm a fan of the Valkyries, from the movies and stuff, and, their folklore. However, Chubby Valkyrie, anyone? Let's see. Like, this is very, okay. So I guess they just have a chubby Valkyrie kind of hanging out. Other than that, it looks like the lady that sings at the end of the opera. Yeah, okay. So, artwork's kind of hit or miss in that. But it should be a decent read if it ties in very much to the King in Black. Here we have Marvel Zombies 2. 3 of 5 is, of course, an homage cover to Iron Man's first appearance. Zombies, anything horror. Spider-Man ripped in half right here. Are you kidding me? Yeah, this is going to be definitely a cool story to read. I may have to try to pick up the other issues. Looks like we have a world-spanning event here. Devil's Reign 5 of 6. Not familiar with it. Never even heard of the title. Should be interesting. Looks like we got some Ghost Rider. It's Wolverine, so yeah. Maybe it's got a horror bent to it. Would be nice. And then we have Secret Invasion. Kind of weird for me to see it. Secret Invasion 4 of, and I'm blind, 8. To see the old David Hasselhoff looking Nick Fury. I am so used to Sam Jackson as Nick Fury now that this is going to bug me. Like, I just don't know. That's really going to bug me. The artwork is fine, but that will bug me. Alright, now we're back into some, well, we haven't even, well, yeah, we're back into some DC. We did some Batman, but now we're going into the Justice League kind of stuff here. We got the JLA, Justice League of America number 78. Not too much to say about the cover. You got the Justice League there. Probably, you know, none of these were key issues. Interior art looks fine. So probably just something to read. And here we have a weird one. The Jurassic League, 3 of 6. Looks like the heroes got turned into dinosaurs. They had some kind of guest artist, which I'm sure they're very famous in what they normally do, but I'm not a fan of this art in a comic book. It almost looks like there may be like a tattoo artist or a street artist of some kind, where they do illustration for something else. Almost looks like Rat Rod kind of street kind of art. I mean, I'll read it. Probably the artwork will be too distracting. Okay, we have Action Comics featuring Wonder Woman number 817. Nice powerful legs. Superman down for the count there. Not sure what the story is going to be about. Is that Jack Black? Whoever that character is, whenever he appears in the movie, they need to have Jack Black play him. Yeah, so, you know, and as far as DC went, in my old collection, I had pretty much full run of all the Death of Supermans, all the bagged editions, all the way up through the Rise of the Supermen with all their die-cut covers, and then Funeral for a Friend. I also had, oh, and this hurts my soul every time I think about it, I had and I bought it directly off the shelf. I had the issue of The Flash, the first appearance of the Reverse or Yellow Flash, with this, if I remember right, it was a silver or holographic cover, and that hurts my soul. That was one that was taken from me as a child, in which 3/4 of my collection was taken from me when I left an abusive home, and my abuser just threw a handful of comics out of my hundreds that I had into basically what amounted to a toy suitcase, and said, take those and a little bit of clothes I could fit in there and go somewhere else. Alright, so now we have Action Comics 1033. Under Siege. Is this a Green Lantern story of some kind? I like this cover art. It's very movie poster-esque. Looks like we got some Martian Manhunter, maybe. Like, I'm really out of the loop when it comes to a bunch of new characters. But it should be a nice read. I'm digging that cover art. Here's some more decent cover art. Wonder Woman Evolution 3. It looks like they kind of modeled her off Megan Fox in the face, and not Gal Gadot, which I'm guessing in this political time is probably a good thing, but this book was before that. Never been a big Wonder Woman fan. Just haven't. The artwork looks fine. For some reason, she just didn't strike me as, you know, a character that I wanted to get into. It's kind of weird. I'm hoping this is part of the story because she looks like an old woman in all these panels. Hopefully this isn't how this artist drew them in order to not have them appeal to the male gaze. Hopefully. When you have a beautiful Wonder Woman on the cover, that would be sad. Legion of Superheroes number 11. So the JLA from the future, basically. Artwork is kind of It's very, it's very the guy who was the best drawing in high school kind of level. It's good, but it's kind of off. It's kind of weird looking in some spots. Okay, it looks like we have a world-spanning event. DC Universe Lazarus Planet, Revenge of the Gods. Looks like maybe some of the old gods are coming back. That's probably Zeus is taking Shazam's powers. It probably kind of circles around Shazam. And Wonder Woman, I would bet. Hercules. Yeah. And here we have a weird one I've never heard of. DC Mech. It's like all the superheroes decided they were too tired of superheroes, so they all got mechs. This is what I'm thinking. This is 4 of 6. That will date it. DC Black Adam, now in theaters. So yeah, it looks like all of them got mechs for some reason. I'm sure this book won't explain it. I would have to get the earlier issues to understand why they're all driving mechs instead of being superheroes. Alright, so now we're moving into what I'm going to call Saturday morning fun. First issue, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover. You have the Raphael Black Helmet variant, and there are multiple variants of this cover with different helmets, and each helmet, a different turtle holds it. So you could have the black helmet with Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, Raphael. You could have Raphael holding the Green Ranger's helmet. This one was just kind of all over the place. Some of the issues are worth more than others. The artwork is nice. I will enjoy reading this and reliving my early childhood when all we would talk about in elementary school was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and play like them on the playground. And continuing with the Turtles, we have Turtles 136, a nice painted cover with Michelangelo, Casey Jones. Of course, this is nowadays, and they've taken Michelangelo's nunchucks away. I guess they weren't weapony enough. And you have a bunch of Krangs here, and he looks like an absolute menace in this issue, so this should be a fun read. And then we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 38, a nice Donatello cover. Again, probably going to be a nice read. The artwork on the interior is a bit more cartoony, so I don't know if they have a rotating artist, but I don't think this is the artist from the last issue. Should still be a good read. Alright, and on to something different. I only got one issue of this particular, Masters of the Universe number 4. Digging the art style on the cover, and that art style is done justice on the interior. Very, very good art on the interior. I will enjoy reading this and may have to try and pick up some more of it. My brother, my older brother, he was a big He-Man fan. He had pretty much every single original He-Man action figure you could want. He even had Castle Grayskull. Alright, here's another one-off. We're into the one-off issues now. We have a Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Every Generation number 1. Nice cover. However, interior art leaves something to be desired. It is very hit or miss, like with this bottom panel. There's a panel in here where her head is like stretched. Some panels she kind of looks like Kim Possible. Other panels it's hard to tell who she's looking like. Like it's hard to tell it's even Buffy. So the artwork in this is very just eh. And then like you move into a different kind of artwork here, which is even worse. So, like, why? I mean, I guess, okay, if that's what you want to do. But then it goes back to kind of normal artwork, but still very Tumblr-looking artwork. You got these straight head-on panels. Nobody knows how to draw anything dynamic. With different angles, they're all straight on, head on, head on, head on, head on, head on. It's very boring looking. And here we have something I've never heard of. Marvel Tech X51, the Machine Man. So I'm guessing this was like a whole kind of like alternate world, part 1 road rage. So it looks very maybe cyberpunkish. I mean, I'm a fan of cyberpunk stuff. So, oh, we got Iron Man, Spider-Man, nice. Yeah, so that might be a cool read. Then we have another Marvel Tech, but this is Deathlock, number 8. I have heard of Deathlock before, but I think this was a new run for him, or maybe his first solo run, I'm not sure. But there's that Spider-Man insert. Makes you think Spider-Man's in the comic, but he isn't. Alright, so we're moving on here. We got War of the Realms Punisher, number 3, looking very spooky at the bottom. Looks like maybe some kind of horror story, so that'll be a nice read. Wow, that's old. Legion TV show. I didn't think it was that old. Yeah, Valkyrie number 1, alright. This brings back memories. The Swamp Thing, Season 2, I'm guessing they carried over from the canceled HBO show, 12 of 16. Swamp Thing always has very kind of interesting covers, at least the newer stuff. The older stuff was obviously more classic. The artwork is very nice. The only Swamp Thing comic I ever owned, I only owned 1 issue, and it was the last Wrightston issue of the original run. And I was sad to lose that. That was stolen from me in college, where I lost half of my collection. And get morbed. We have Morbius, the living vampire, number 1. Of course, is that America's ass, or would that be Transylvania's ass? I don't know, but his ass is out there. Interior artwork is fine. Horror story. The comic appears to be more horror than the movie, so I should enjoy reading this. And then we got something you would expect to be horror based on the previous movies. Blade, number 5. He's got a super suit with a cape and a gold sword. Like, when did Blade get a super suit, and why? Is he fighting alien vampires? Like, what is this? This isn't a Blade comic book. What is this? Is this in the future? I don't get it. I'll have to read it to find out what it is, but I can tell you this is not the Blade that I would have wanted. Moving on. We're moving into some more runs here. Or wait. Let's see. Hold on. We've got a few extra issues over here that I kind of took out. Storm and Ileana, Magic number 1. I thought that this might be worth something. It's not really. You got Magic and Storm and their adventure. We also have, I should have probably put this back in the Spider-Man section. The Amazing Spider-Man number 1 variant cover. Love it. Not worth anything right now. Some people are listing it for, higher prices than normal. Mostly it looks like cover value, but I would expect if this run keeps going concurrently for a couple hundred issues. This one, even though it's not one of the special variant covers, it is a variant, but it's not one of the hot ones, would actually gain some value eventually. And then we have a What If Secret Wars. I did have a bunch of What If issues, maybe 3 or 4. I did have What If the Hulk Killed Wolverine. I remember that one specifically, and the whole panel about they were hitting so hard that they were shattering mountains, and the Hulk finally dislocated one of Logan's vertebrae in his neck, which severed his spine, and that's how he ended up killing him. But this is What If Secret Wars. This one was kind of all over the place on eBay. I would expect this one, you see he's got the Infinity Gauntlet there. I would expect this one, once the Fantastic Four movie comes out and Doctor Doom starts playing a major role as a villain in the Marvel Universe, I would expect this to probably gain some value. Alright, speaking of Fantastic Four, we're back into the normal books. Issue 19, Ultimate Fantastic Four. I was never, ever, I don't know why, they never appealed to me, a Fantastic Four fan. I'll read these because I have them. But I don't know if they can actually do anything to get me to buy some Fantastic Four books. They're just not my cup of tea. We got an old Fantastic Four here, 279. Dr. Doom's eyes there, of course. Wow, flying skyscraper. That artwork. I mean, it's probably done by some great artist, I don't know, but wow. Learn to, I don't know. I don't want to say learn to draw women because that's proportionately correct, but I don't know what happened there. She's looking very weird. Alright, then we got Reckoning War, Fantastic Four, number 45. Cover artwork, very painterly. Interior artwork looks very nice. Alright, and now we're moving on to Star Wars comics. The Marvel runs. It doesn't look like I got anything old Star Wars. In this last round, when I had to sell off my the last remains of my collection, I had a variant cover of the new Star Wars number 1 with Han Solo on the cover. It was a Loot Crate exclusive, and I hated getting rid of that. But here we go. We have Star Wars number 9. Nice Leia C-3PO cover. This dude that I remember I had a Pog of that was lenticular back in the day. So you get to see some classic characters. Got some Lando Calrissian there. Very nice. Ignore the phone. And this is something I want to get into, even though people dogged the novels. Star Wars, The High Republic, issue number 2. I always enjoy the ancient Star Wars stuff, like with Revan and all of that, more than the current Star Wars, even the ones with Luke and stuff. There's only so much story you can take revolving around one character or one family of characters. What they should have done with the new trilogy is to start it over fresh with a totally new character, totally new story, and totally tore away from the Skywalker saga. Hopefully someday they'll do that. But here we go. High Republic number 2. And I figured most Vader books are worth something. This one is not. Star Wars Target Vader number 3. I made a joke in my first video. This looks like Solid Snake is hunting Vader. But it should be a decent read. Hopefully Vader breaks badass in here with his lightsaber and does some damage. And then we have Star Wars Ewoks number 1. Now I don't know if this is a first printing, a variant, or second printing, but I do know that there is a version of this comic where this image is the whole cover and then it has all this. So this could be how they did the reprints. I'm not sure. I'm too blind to be able to read the copyright stuff at the bottom of the page. The artwork in this swings back and forth from like Saturday morning cartoon to crazy crap, because I think the Ewoks are telling like this is the real world, and or they're just telling like campfire stories. This is the real world, and they're telling like an anthology of campfire stories ranging from scary to happy and stuff. So that's why the artwork changes. All right, is that it? Okay, guys, we have went through all of the comics except for the last giant hit, and we're going to talk about this one for a minute. Now, before I show you, it is my other signed copy with a certificate of authenticity. I think this one is a major hit. I'm not sure. If you're still watching this video, let me know what you think. So we have a Flashpoint Beyond #1 signed. It is signed by Jeff Johns, Tim Sheridan, Jeremy Adams. I could not find this cover with this grouping of signatures. I found the same grouping of signatures on issue 0. It was going for $99. It was the only and ever only copy without a COA on eBay. That cover was not nearly as interesting as this cover. There are a couple signed copies of this up on eBay. They are graded as CGC signature series, meaning they had the artist come into CGC, sign them, and they slabbed them right there with the yellow tag. So however you want to do that. The cover artist is Zermanko. There are 2 up for him. One, just his signature, is $182, and it is graded at a 9.8, which is weird that just his signature. I've never heard of him. I'm assuming he's one of the artists that are popular online, that is moving into doing comic book covers instead of just fan art. But like I said, just his signature is $182, one signature. He also did one where he signed it and did a little Batman bust sketch down here in the corner. That one is listed for $365. And they are both graded. I think they're both 9.8, and I think they're both Yellow Label signature series from CGC. That being said, I did some more market research. A Shazam variant of this, with the Shazam cover, which isn't as nice as this cover, I don't think, with just Jeff Johns' signature graded, I believe it was also signature series, is $160. So that's what we're looking at. I could not, like I said, and the one book that had all 3 of these signatures on the 0 edition did not have a COA, was not graded, it was going for $99. So looking at this book, there is absolutely nothing wrong with this. This is easy 9.8 material. So with all 3 signatures, of course it wouldn't be Yellow Label, CGC, verified signature, because, you know, they didn't have them come in and sign it and case it right then. But it does have a certificate of authenticity from Collector's Paradise, which should count for something. What do you guys think the value of this would be? If one signature on a variant cover of this, Jeff Johns, was $160, and this is probably the best variant cover, best looking in my opinion, of the whole run of variant covers, with all 3 of those signatures, Jeff Johns, Tim Sheridan, Jeremy Adams, with a certificate of authenticity. If I were not to get it graded, put your quoted price below. Like I said, it's an easy 9.8, if not a 10. There's nothing wrong with any of the corners at all. It's like factory fresh. And now if I was to get it graded and it hits, let's be lenient, let's say it hit a 9.6 to a 10, somewhere in that range, what do you think it would be worth? Give me those two values in the comments if you're still watching. And let me know what you think. Certificate of authenticity, if this one I would guess minimum 200 if I got it graded. I would probably sell it for a minimum 200 even raw with the COA. So just let me know what you think. The only other ever signed comics that I had was back in the day, the old Wizard magazine prize guide. When I was 16, ran a drawing contest for Creed. I can't remember if it was issue 0 or issue 1, but it had so many variant covers, like A through F. And you can win a signed copy from Wizard of Creed. I'm thinking it was 0. Could have been 1. But if you look at any price guides, they all list that Creed as it was either one of 1,500 or one of 2,500. You'll see it there. It says it's signed. But they all list them as the B cover. Mine even had the certificate of authenticity, and it was mailed direct to me from Wizard, was not the B cover. It was the Flame and Demon variant, which I believe was like the F cover. So that could have been a one-of-a-kind signed issue with that certificate of authenticity from that run. And I unfortunately had to sell it and got ripped off. Like I said, that was one of the last ones I let go. I was living out of my car and needed money, and took them all into my local comic book shop, and he looked at them and said, "Oh, you don't have much of anything." I had that. I had the Star Wars #1 issue with Han Solo variant. I had the first appearance of Jubilee, which wasn't in the greatest condition, but it was probably at least a 6. And I had most of the Spawn, 1 through 30 run. I know that not much, before 100 is worth much. But just by sheer volume and what I had there, should have got me more than $50, plus about 10 Funko Pops that were like variants and limited editions and stuff. But I got taken for a ride. But now I think this one probably makes up for that. However, it won't make up for the fact that I did not win it. It was not mine from the moment that it came into existence. But this, monetarily wise, would make up for it, I'm sure. So like I said, let me know. Ungraded value, graded value. Assuming it is a 9, 8, or better, let me know in the comments. And I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.